Hi there, this is JK, and today we're going to be answering the question, should you buy a BMW E71 X6? Now, about 4 months ago, I did the video on the E53 BMW X5. I sold that and I bought this. Okay, so after 4 months, what do I think of it? Well, actually, I think it's pretty good, but let me just run through the spec first. In Hong Kong, we only got 2 versions of this on the E71. We had the V8, I think as I mentioned before, the 4.4 twin turbo, or we had the 35i, this one, which is the 3-litre twin turbo. Now this one has got both the notorious and very famous N54 engine. As an application, it works very, very well. When I say notorious, they did suffer from quite a few problems, if not maintained. Primarily being turbos, turbo wastegates, water pumps, various fuel leaks, high pressure fuel pumps, low pressure fuel pumps, and a multitude of other things. This one so far has been very, very good. When I bought it, I think I said before, we changed the suspension arms, low control arms, both sides. We changed the bonnet struts. I give it a full service, and I had the transmission also give a service. Now, I always do this to BMWs because I've seen the difference it makes when a gearbox goes a little bit off. Do a service on one of these and it changes it completely. It's more preventative than anything, and it really does make the ride smoother. So let's have a look around the car. Okay, so let's get started, and let's start at the front. There is that wonderful N54 engine. Now, very compact in there, very tight in there. Even worse when you've got the V8. Now, one issue with this, as anybody with these engines will know, is they can leak. I do have a valve cover oil leak, and I also have an oil filter housing oil leak there as well. Now, the issue with that is the manifold has to come off to get the job done. So this car is actually coming up for a roadworthiness test, and it's going to cost me a bit to actually have that all taken off and those gaskets fitted. But at least, I guess, after that it's done. This engine was superseded by the M55, which was actually a single turbo, but a twin scroll, which means twin chambers, twin turbines, each turbine or each chamber, again, acting on 3 cylinders. So the thing with the M54, it's not as reliable, but it's a damn sight more tunable. It's very, very easy to get 400-500 horsepower out of these engines. Unfortunately, the reliability is not the greatest, but if you keep on top of maintenance, it's a brilliant engine. It's very smooth, and actually, as with E53, the car is surprisingly fast for some huge bulk that it has. Now, myself, I actually love the look of this car. A little bit controversial when it first came out, the shape. Let me just put that bonnet down a minute. Depending on where you're watching in the world. There we go. Now, let's say the shape was a bit controversial. When it first came out, a lot of people were asking what it was for. As mentioned before, Jeremy Clarkson said, what's it for? Yeah, no idea. Now, it's quite funny that nowadays, all the manufacturers, or at least all the German manufacturers, Mercedes, Audi and BMW, are offering this form for literally every model. So it's really, really caught on. And it is not just in SUV, but also in sedan style. So as everybody knows, you know, we started off with the 535 GT. I mean, you get a 320 GT now. There's GTs, not for all the sedan models. There's a coupe now, X4, X6. I mean, you know, this goes on. So it actually turned out to be quite a popular format. Now, you do suffer from a little bit of headroom loss in the back, but let's get to that in a minute. The interior of this, so that the Chianti red, sorry, a bit dirty. It's so hot at the moment. I'm actually filming this in the shade because we're about 35 degrees, we're over 90 degrees humidity, and it is hot. So we'll put the car in shade, and I haven't washed it or anything because it's just too hot to do. So anyway, if we take a quick look at this interior, it's standard E71 interior. Obviously for the E71 you have these bolsters on the side of the center console because of the capabilities of this car in cornering, and it is absolutely astounding the cornering speeds this thing can actually achieve. It's actually supposed to protect your knees. This one has sport seats. I mean, they really do comfort you. You got that big old center console in the middle, but it's got some horrible telephone thing there which takes up a lot of space. Pretty useless. Phones themselves, I mean, Jesus, technology moves on so fast. Go around the other side quickly. Okay, so standard iDrive there. As I mentioned before, this has got Bluetooth. For some reason, it will not now connect to my iPhone. It will not connect to my Android phone either. So, not quite sure what's up with the Bluetooth. But of course, you have the auxiliary, so I can still play my music, and that's important. But the car itself, I mean, it's done just over 100,000 kilometers. The condition of the interior is fantastic. Sunroof, no panoramic, as mentioned before, a bit of a shame. Now we're full of crap in the back, I think. Let's have a look. We're not too bad. Now shades are up all the time. We are so hot at the moment. One issue is whoever had this before, I believe, had dogs, so each side they chewed the arms, and of course that's just sticky plastic now. You don't even want to touch it, it just comes off in your hands. It's horrible. In the back, obligatory mask, of course, and also we've got bags. We do have controllable air conditioning in the back, and just 2 seats, but again these are quite very supportive seats, apart from the fact that my kids really dirty their hands on the rear handles. I have to like put them in and put them out. They do like the seat, so that's one thing. Okay, and towards the rear of the car, shut these up a minute, and being very careful because we're right out in the sort of near the country park, and this is well-known snake territory. And I mean, when I'm talking about snakes, I'm talking about cobras and Burmese pythons have been found out here. And we do have electric tailgate. We're full of stuff in here again, mainly tools, diagnostics, electrics, and you can actually lift this up. I do actually have a protective thing here, actually protective mat in here, which is actually for E70, E71. There's power at the back. And that's about it. I mean, we've still got that dent we had before. I haven't fixed that yet. Still got that mark on the rear quarter. I haven't touched that yet. Been no point. That's about it. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go for a drive. Ooh, some animal sounds there. I don't know what that is, but we do get barking deer and porcupine as well. So let me just set this up and we'll go for a drive. Okay, so it's so hot outside. It's just nice to get in the aircon. It's so hot. Right, let's see how she drives. I think you already know because we did have a little drive before, but we're now up in the Sycombe Country Park, and actually it is the school holidays as well, so of course everywhere is full. A bit harder to do some videos today. I was actually looking at a few places where I'd normally go and do video, and they are not available. So, there. So let's get ourselves out here first. Right, good thing about this car, it's got a load of go. It really does move. But even with a light throttle, it does really go. what I do like about it, there's a lot of torque from low down. So it's not like turbo engines of old where you had to spin it up, and suddenly it'd go, burst into life. This has actually got a lot of power from low down. I guess, you know, each turbo feeding like 3 cylinders gives it that capability. It's a very quiet engine. When you do rev it, it sounds like typical BMW straight 6. I mean, it's a good sound. It's not a bad sound. It's a nice sound. Pretty unique. I mean, you can tell a BMW engine the same way you can tell a Porsche flat 6 or like an old British, you know, old Jaguar or Aston Martin straight 6. Very, very unique sounds. So, what's to like about this car apart from the engine? Well, actually, more of the engine. It handles brilliantly. I mean, you remember me telling you about the X5? Well, this has got dynamic handling and all that kind of thing. It goes round a corner so flat because it adjusts itself in a bend. Something else that could go wrong, but it does adjust itself, and it is amazing how quick this thing goes round bends. It just stays flat, and the grip is phenomenal. Coach pulling over to let me past. The grip is phenomenal. Amazing. You just don't want to let off in the bends. You know, when I first got this, I kind of like, you know, backing off a bit, where I would in the X5 to go around a bend. You know, even with the grip that had, and you kind of realise when you do that, hey, this thing's like go faster, and so you do. The suspension, as I say, it does adjust. It's a little bit on the firm side, as most BMWs are. Yeah, it's like the E70 again. That's a very, very firmly sprung. So sometimes on a bumpy road like this, you'll feel a bit, you'll hear a bit come into the cabin. Although, you know, this cabin's so well built, so well insulated that it's not anything that affects the enjoyment of the driving. Sometimes when you see these bends come up, you just want to go round them. You know, it's like taking bends. Well, the same sort of excitement. It just pushes you out, the seat holds you in. But it's like that excitement you get, you know, when you come up to a few good bends on a motorbike. You know, you just absolutely want to attack them. And this gives you that kind of feeling as well. Not all the time. Sometimes the wife's in the car and she will complain. And often does. And of course, when the kids are in the car, the only thing they've got to grab hold of in the back are those really dodgy door handles. So you've got to be careful then. You know, else they're going to be coming out with black hands. If you do want to drive slow, it's great. As I say, there's loads of grunt from low down. The car really, it feels great even driving slow. Aircon on it is fantastic. In heat like this, I mean, I'm now lovely and cool. Much better than the old E53. I mean, that was good. You had to wait for a while for it to kick in. And this is much better. I mean, it's not up to, you know, Toyota, Honda, Japanese standards or even Korean standards of aircon. But for a German car, it's very, very good. I mean, if anybody or any of you have driven cars in, like, you know, hot, humid environments, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, BMWs and Mercedes, Audis are nowhere near as good as Japanese cars. And again, it drives you out. It really does. So you don't feel like you're in an SUV really. Stupid flappy paddles, which you know my feeling on them. And now we're stuck in traffic, so we'll have a sip of water anyway. My lips are dry as a bone. So I try and moisten myself up. I think when the air comes this cold, it does dry you out. So yeah, flappy paddles, as you know, don't like them. This car doesn't come with cruise control, where the E53 did. Onboard computer works fine. Standard iDrive, the first generation, I think CDC, whatever it is. And that's it. I mean, brakes. Brakes are superb. They are amazing on this beast. I cannot believe they haul this thing up as quick as they do. And they're so progressive as well. I mean, you jam them on, you'll go through the windscreen. I mean, they're just like that. It's like just hitting a brick wall. But you know, you can actually, you can feel them through the pedal. So you kind of like, you know, as you're coming up high speed, maybe to a roundabout or something, and you've got a couple of cars you want to get past, you know, you can kind of feather it and you can feel what it's doing, and you've got so much confidence going into that roundabout or that bend before anything else. You just know what it's doing. So amazing, really, really good, and they work extremely well. Overall, I really like this car. Now, as I said, it cost well, it was under 3,000 US dollars. It's just over 20,000 Hong Kong. I spent at the time to do the suspension, get the wheels, because it had those stupid 22-inch 22-inch wheels on, which are horrible. Tyres like rubber bands, so I put on standard 19s. There's not a big market for them, so I got them cheap. Bonnet strut, full service, transmission service, and all of that together cost me just under 1,000 US. Now I've got the next bill will come soon, because I've got those oil leaks, the valve cover gasket and the oil filter housing, both leaking, so they're going to need to be done. And because the manifold's got to come off, that's going to be a bit pricey. So we'll see what that comes out to, but I'll get it done before the roadworthiness test. Get it through the roadworthiness test, and then we can like license it for another 12 months, I guess, and let's see how it performs then. Now we're in a bit of a traffic jam, and I know when I come out of here earlier, it was traffic was building up, so I know it's going to take a little while to get through. So I'm going to sign off now, and I'll come back a bit later. Right, so we cleared the traffic jam, and back on the final little leg. Now, I guess we go back to the original question: should you buy an E71 X6? Would I do it again? Actually, yes, I would. I really do like this car. I really do think it's a great piece of kit. It's not without its flaws, but it really does all come together, and it's a great package. So if I was going to spend the money again, which admittedly wasn't a lot, to be honest, most people out there, I'm seeing cars every day, I've got opportunities to buy cars all the time. Yeah, I would buy it, even with my own money, even at full price. Yeah, I'd buy one of these without a doubt. It's one of the best cars I've actually owned. I've really enjoyed owning it. I mean, over the years I've had Bentleys and TVRs and Mercedes, BMWs, even Tesla, and this is probably one of the cars I've actually enjoyed the most. I think because it's very, very honest. You know what it is. It's not trying to pretend to be anything stupendous. It's a good looking car. It's a good package. So yes, you should. If you get the opportunity, if you like the looks, and if you find the right one, then do it. If you don't know anything about cars and there's a real shitter out there, do not bother. But yeah, other than that, again. And that's bye from me. Like, subscribe. I've got some more videos coming up. I was going to do one on the S4, but unfortunately I've just sold it today. But there will be some more videos coming up. Stay tuned and be good. Take care. Bye bye all.